You're listening to the Rise and Form podcast.
All right, how you feeling? Should we go?
Yes, let's go.
Should I just start riffing?
Do it.
All right.
Riff.
We thought we better do this because Aundrea Paxton has done a lot of interviewing and Abe Hatch has done a lot of interviewing, and no one knows who Aundrea or Abe is.
Yeah.
And we got so much feedback about that from our friends and family and listeners and stuff. So here we are.
We're reluctantly telling everyone
totally,
who we are.
It sounds like we're being reluctant, but I know. But we do want to do that.
We do. Yeah, we do.
And we plan to do more of this.
Yeah.
But we're just kind of getting started, I guess, with
we just got started running, and we were like, let's just do things. And then they were like, who are you?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're therapists. We're so used to being like, tell me about you.
Oh,
and
that's true.
We didn't tell them about us because
which
one
is
really
like
cares.
Therapists that listen to this will relate that that's the feedback you get so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, that's good. You're really good at making me feel listened to, but like, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Right.
Like just something, like, Yeah, I like basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you?
Anyway, yes, I do.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought
Do you play?
knew that.
No.
Come on.
You played?
In our last, do you
Did
remember?
you mention this?
I mentioned something about basketball.
Yes, you did.
But I don't play anymore, and I'm disappointed about that. But I play with my son basketball on his little hoop.
So cute. You dunk on him all the time.
Yeah, I do. I don't let him score.
Get that out of here.
Seriously. So, yeah, we've got some questions here that we prepared so we can kind of talk about it.
Organized.
And our first one, we're so organized. And our first one was your idea, which is kind of real, but it's describe your life in 3 words.
No. Okay, I'll take it.
All right.
Because I already got a chance to think about this.
Nice.
So let me look at my notes and see what I said.
I suddenly feel like I'm asking the questions, and I feel kind of comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to get you back.
Yeah,
so
okay.
It's going to be fine.
All right.
So I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, disconnected, enlightened, and surprising. So I think growing up, wonderful parents, they really did a lot for us to develop us. And I also recognized how disconnected my family was in many ways emotionally. And I didn't realize that, probably prior to doing my own work, going to school, all that stuff. Enlightened, I would say it is going to school, like going to get my doctorate, like in my program at Rosemead at Biola University. We had to do our own personal therapy, and even the therapy courses are very much like, who are you? Because you're your own instrument. And so I felt like I didn't have therapy prior to going to school. I just knew I feel like this is necessary, but I had never had it myself. So it was enlightening to see what are the ways that I've been, formed in a way, and what are the ways that I've been, my defenses, all that stuff. So it was oh, okay. So starting to see that. And then surprising, I'm surprised I'm enjoying Oregon because I'm from California.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I like sun.
Yeah.
And it just started to be sunny, but
beautiful day.
It is really beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but I was surprised because I grew up in LA, and it was LA can be the center, and it was my center. And slowly I felt like God was moving me further and further out, further and further. But I was just not comfortable with that. I'm not really that comfortable with change. I'm let's just keep it where we know. And so for me to be in Oregon, so far north is different. I went to school on the East Coast, so that was cool. But I know California, I know LA. But to feel comfortable here to the point where we're I think we're gonna put in roots. Man, I think that was surprising. So I'm not gonna take up all the time, but
no, that's so good.
That's my
so succinct.
That's my life.
That's your life in 3
words,
man. Wow, that's so good.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm just resonating with the studying psychology thing. Because I think that was, if we ask on our podcast what was your formative moment, I don't think I take stock of that enough. That studying it and then becoming a therapist was I think like most therapists agree, and clients probably know this, that it's because we went through something, and like just life. We went through life, and we decided to study, maybe subconsciously or consciously a lot of the time, because we needed to learn something.
Yeah.
So that was huge for me too. But I'll go with, I think the word is, it's sort of like embarrassing. And then the next one would be beautiful. And then the third word, I want to say something like expanse. I was going to say horizon, whatever that feeling is, like being on the horizon, looking out into the expansiveness. So embarrassing.
Yes,
just
tell
like
me.
just to
Tell me all your embarrassing secrets.
Oh man, do you take my insurance?
No.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's almost embarrassing to say that life has been embarrassing, because it's like I want to come across like I've got it together, but I just didn't. And I think I come from a fairly disconnected family too. It is all love. I know everyone's human, so I don't harbor resentment about that. But it was really confusing sort of growing up in a family like that. We were from the bush of Western Australia, and then we moved to the city, and I was like the poor kid in the kind of middle class, wealthy-ish area.
Yeah.
And all of that was just really confusing. I think just throughout life, I haven't felt very like grounded and sort of like clear. And I did a lot of hiding, a lot of pretending, a lot of masking. And so I think that got me in a lot of trouble. My 20s was a mess. I think mess could have been a good word, actually.
Yeah.
But,
mess. Oh yeah, you're not alone. 20s being a mess.
Yeah, that's true. And I know when I meet people in their 20s, I'm like, I love you. I'm with you. I'm so sorry. It's like, you'll figure it out.
Yes.
And you'll figure it out. But that's probably it. And so, yeah, big mistakes, but it moves to beautiful, because I really feel like I'm in that place now where like I feel really redeemed from all of that stuff, and like I've been able to reclaim my life, and beautiful marriage, great kids, great family, feel really blessed in that way. And so beautiful things have come from all of that, thanks to Jesus and his work in me and him helping me find clarity. And so, yeah, there's just times where I'm just pinching myself. I'm like, I do not deserve to feel as peaceful as I do, or as clear as I do. And so I just feel grateful for that.
Yeah.
And not to say that things are all great all the time. Like, absolutely not. Struggles and strains and stuff happens still. But, and then, yeah, like expanse or horizon. I never thought I would live in Oregon either. Which is like, we relate in that way.
Yes.
And I mean, so many people, and I'm sorry if you're Oregonian and you're listening to this and you're like, here's more transplants in my state, but you have a beautiful state.
Yes.
And we want to live here. Yeah, right. But it is like, it's won me over too. And I think just life has been like that. It's just been sort of like, as a kid, I don't know if you did this when you spun the globe and you'd put your finger on the globe and say, I'll live here one day. And I never thought I'd get out of Australia. I didn't even, Australians don't leave, a lot of the time. They travel, but they stay. So just to kind of be like, boom, this random place called Portland, Oregon, which I'd never even considered traveling to, and then, move here. And it just feels kind of like, wow, anything can happen in life,
Ooh. That's exciting.
Yeah.
In a way, kind of scary too, but exciting. Yeah, to be like, I can go off and like explore. There's so far I can go.
Yeah. We can go really far from our homes and from everything we knew.
Yes.
And that's both, it's scary, and you can adapt. You just got to do it. Which is what Rise and Form's kind of about, right?
They're just living the Rise and Form life.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let's move.
I'll throw the next question out.
Yeah.
What do you do in 60 seconds?
All right, let's go.
I'm starting my clock.
So I have a private practice, Kookaburra Community. It's a kookaburra is an Australian bird.
Good. I'm glad you explained that.
Yes.
I mean, you explained it to me, but it laughs.
Yeah, it's a laughing bird.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's why that's part of it. But also they laugh to protect. They're actually warning the other birds like danger's coming. So
Ah.
just a lot of metaphors in there that I
Uh-huh.
like, but also it's just Australian.
Yes.
Australian.
Yes.
My main interests are like attachment, working dyadically. I used to do a lot of parent-child stuff. Infant toddler mental health was my main jam,
Mm-hmm.
and that really set me up for working with couples. And I do a lot of couples work now.
Mm-hmm.
Do individuals too, but I love working with the dynamic, and it makes it interesting for me.
Yeah.
So do a lot of that, and then this
Yeah.
rise and form as it's unfolding.
in your infinite free time,
Yeah,
just
right.
squeezing it in. Yes. Yeah.
All right, what about you?
So I have a private practice too. And I work primarily with adults. And I like to say I like to help people navigate life changes and relationship challenges. And so kind of like any kind of transition of life thing, I think that brings up a whole bunch of stuff. So I like to work on that. And then, of course, relationships. I think the form of therapy I like to do, I mean, like more of like the emotion focus, but also like a relational focused therapy. And attachment is in there too. Like we've definitely connected on that. And so I think that that's kind of where my interest is, where I lean, where I see where change can happen. And so that's a lot of what I do now. And that's it in this. These two things take up everything. And, of course, we're parents and spouses and all the things. But work-wise, this it.
That's
It's
it.
a lot.
That's all. And that's a lot.
No more.
Yeah. Well, when you're doing that, people don't realize you're actually running your own business too. And
Yes,
all of that
yeah.
stuff. It's not just
Yeah.
seeing people. So
Right.
that takes up a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, good. I don't know. People, if you're listening, that was probably more than 60 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Sorry about that.
I know. I forgot to look at it. It wasn't too bad, but I looked at my watch, but I really wasn't timing anything.
Yeah, no.
I just like
this
okay.
watch battery's dead. It's just for show.
for all this time.
I never wear it. I don't.
don't?
I know. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wear a watch. Today we don't usually film,
Yeah.
and so we're filming now.
Yeah.
And in season 2 we're gonna film more. So
Yeah.
well, we already have started season 2, but yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do a little rise and form question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is rise and form interesting to you?
I was thinking about this a couple days ago. The work I do as a therapist, there is a lot of, we tap on the relational, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, because I do integrate faith. But I feel like there's something different. Like, I don't know, there's like a different posture I take as a therapist. We're not advising as therapists, not doing a lot of instruction or things like that. But I feel like I do desire for my clients to grow character-wise, but that may not always be what they're coming in for.
Yeah.
And I need to honor what they're coming in for. But I do desire, and when I mean character-wise, like long-term growth. But everybody's not there. So I think like when we started talking about this, I was like, this is like an addition. This is something that I feel like would be good. I feel like I, have thoughts about it, but therapy is not necessarily the place where I'm going to be able to like, pull for that and challenge my clients in that way as explicitly as we can here.
Yep.
So this gives an opportunity to explicitly let's talk about character. Let's talk about how to do these things that are hard.
Yeah.
We'll empathize and all those things, but like sometimes there's some things it's going to take discipline to do. And so yeah, this gives me an outlet for that.
Yeah, that's good.
How about you?
Good. Yeah, outlet's a good word. I think the same mostly. It's really interesting to me. It's been quite a ride just having those sorts of conversations. Like, why did I become a therapist, psychologist, now a counselor in Oregon? When I really do believe that people need other things too, like not just therapy. And it is an interesting relationship we have with therapy because they're the customer in a sense, right? Our clients, patients. And so they are wanting something and they don't know exactly what they want sometimes. They want to change, they want to grow.
Yeah.
And then you tell them the thing they need to work on. And that can cause rifts and ruptures.
Yes.
But hopefully we have enough trust with them for them to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it. And so, enjoying having a space to do that and hopefully us building up enough credibility with people that the things we're teaching and the Rise and Form principles will become something that people see as just valuable to apply to their lives. My pastor was talking about just using your gifts on Sunday. And so I think this is about trying to lean into more of our gifting. Just like things that God's given us, you know, which is we do a lot of thinking about human behavior and how humans develop and what obstacles are in the way and that sort of thing. So I think it's just giving us a chance to use our thinking to help other people do more thinking and more reflecting and that sort of thing. So I'm interested in all of that. I'm just interested in human behavior and how to change. And then, like you said, becoming like Jesus. What a great pursuit. And I hope that we can help people do that. Like that's what I really hope we end up doing. And even just like one little tweak towards that is worth it, you know, and just,
absolutely.
Selfishly doing it for myself too, because it's great to work on yourself.
I know.
And we get to
really
talk to these cool
on
people.
Myself and anyone that wants to listen, you can listen to
this
it.
This is publicly us trying to do our own spiritual formation.
Watch us look like Jesus and follow us.
Watch us fail miserably and keep on going. Right? And try again and try again and try again.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, that's good. Oh, okay. So how has the ride been so far? The Rise and Form, not life, right? We're just talking about this last little bit that we've been trying to do something new. And maybe in the context of being busy, like we said, having kids, having, you know, spouses, serving in our churches, all of that sort of stuff. So,
Man, I see how you threw the question back at me.
Wait,
skillful therapist.
Was it your turn?
Yes, it was my turn. Was it my turn? Anyways, it's fine. Okay. You're just so trained. You're so well trained. You're like, look.
To stay in the like question asking chair.
You keep throwing out questions.
So be real, you've fed this back to me before after a podcast. You're like, I'm pretty sure you took my question. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I think that's anxiety.
Next question.
Silence. 7 seconds. It's awkward.
Oh, no, it's cool though. The ride has been a ride. Because I feel like lately it's just felt like a lot to do this. It's like, I feel like we have to wear so many hats right now, just in the development stage that I didn't even realize. And even like this, doing the podcast is not the initial goal. Like we're still trying to build the course, but then like the way things are nowadays, it's like, okay, we need social media because we got to get ourselves out there, but we need a logo because people like, you need continuity, and we need this and we need that, and we need somebody to organize us because we're thinkers, feelers, but we're not the most let's just like have this organized and everything. Like,
shout out to Preston Crawford.
Yes, thank you, Preston, because man, our first few meetings,
oh my gosh,
been like 2 hours at a time and get one thing.
Seriously. Way too much
but I
fluff.
think it was us connecting too, but it was also just like, it was a lot of times I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much. I don't even know. Like, so, but, so it's felt like a lot. It's felt like a lot, but it's been fun. It's never felt like boring or like too much or like, I don't want to do it. It just felt like, okay, this is cool. I'm tired, but this is I don't know if it's energizing, but I want to do it, you know?
It's sort of meaningful, you know, like it's energizing in that way, like doing something that feels important. Yeah. We do so many things that are like meetings that are a waste of time, you know, to be frank. And I think we're trying not to make it a waste of time.
Yes.
But no, I agree with you. And like, what did you say? You said something in there.
I don't know. I said a lot of great things.
Yeah, so many good things. But I mean, we meet often Thursday nights at the moment where we do our planning and stuff and, you know, spend a couple hours, sometimes longer, planning the next thing or whatever it is, preparing. And it is like, it's a lot, like a lot to work through because we have to work on our brand and our logo and our music and our editing and all that sort of stuff. And I think originally we thought like we might just be able to do it like somehow, like I don't know. I don't know what we were thinking, but
Delusional.
also just like it's been a lesson in our own, like, do something new, and eventually,
Yeah.
like, hopefully years from now, it'll start to like make sense.
Yeah.
But it has just been like getting a big steam train moving, you know, but yeah, at the same time, like, totally, I love it. Like, it's
Yeah.
been great. It
Yeah.
feels like a little bit like a privilege too, just some of the conversations we get to have and some of the people we've interviewed, and it just gives life a little bit more of spice, you know, like we're not just doing the same old stuff every day,
Right.
and also building community through it. Like I'm just finding like the ride's been, I'm having conversations with my friends, and like, you know, like we got to hang out the other night with some friends and like talk about our stuff, and people are interested in it, and like in our churches and stuff, people are like wanting to know more, and so feels like it's building community, and it's doing the things we want it to do.
Yeah.
And a little bit like we're in over our heads and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. It's all the things. And I think that's what makes it like, you know, enjoyable. 'Cause it's like, okay, like, you know, we're doing something we enjoy. We're connecting with others. Like there's all these other like things that are enjoyable. So it's like, okay, it pays off. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know.
totally. And it's been fun doing it with you, Andrea, by the way.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Because I don't think it would be fun with some people
Yeah.
to do this kind of thing.
Like,
You know?
you're boring. I don't want to do it. Yeah, but it is. It's like, I think we've helped to keep it fun.
Yeah.
Because if it's like,
Yes.
yeah. Is this
Yes,
what
that was
I
it.
reminded you?
That was it.
Go.
Well,
Yes.
it was whenever we reached something that felt like a block, not to say
Yeah.
that always means stop,
Yeah.
but it just didn't feel like the time was right. And we would pivot to something else, and then there would be a bit more flow.
Yeah.
And I think every time we've made that decision, it's made it like feel like this is going the way it should go.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're podcast, which is just like never wanted to be a podcast. You know, and I don't think I'll stay in this space, but I think it's good to begin with. And then, once we figure out what happens next, it'll be, you know, God's timing. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's something we have to remind ourselves of, is like, okay, we're partnering with God. Like, I remind myself of that even in my own, like, doing therapy. Like, look, I'm not doing this alone, because whenever I feel like doing it alone, things just get more frantic.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Let me hurry and rush before.
Yeah, do you want to do it? Yeah. Sorry.
Just
Okay, let me
kidding.
ask it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay, so how did we meet? Like, how did this all come to be?
Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's just both riff on this.
Okay.
But back in COVID was when I met your husband.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a really special time too. Like, obviously things were really hard. We were doing video stuff, and then he got asked to come and play at our church, and I was drumming.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it was about that, but I remember that day really clearly.
Wow.
And I remember meeting K-Pax,
Yeah.
and I don't know if anyone else calls him that, but I do.
Hey, you got a nickname for it.
Yeah. Well, he's K-Pax Music, and he's
Sure.
he's so talented.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was partially just that. He's got the touch of God, and he sings so beautifully and plays so beautifully. So it was cool just to meet him. And then we're down at this coffee shop, and I look up, and I actually think it was my wife. Jamie said, hey, because I was looking for an office, why don't you go and have a look at that office and see what that person's all about, and just what the like area is like. And so I reached out, right? Yeah. And then we met for coffee.
Yeah, we met for coffee, and we were talking, and I can't remember, and we were like, oh, you like EFT, so do I, and oh, you're a Christian, so am I.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is so cool. And then you had mentioned something about playing drums, and I was like, oh, it's like, you know, my husband played there once at that church, and you're like, then some kind of, his name came up, and it's like, what? Oh my gosh, we've been connected in some way.
Yes.
You know, since, you know, years ago, but it's only been like past year or so that we've like really, you know, been working on this and everything. But yeah, and I remember you and Jamie invited me and Carrie over, and we just talked and got to know each other. And then you start talking about like, you know, like kind of like what we talked about just now of like, the rise and like wanting more out of therapy, wanting to do more. And you were talking about like integrating spirituality and psychology, and I was like, this sounds really great.
This is a good
This is
idea.
great. And I remember asking you, like, if you want a partner in this, I want to do it. You were like, yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah. Well, and the way I remember it as well is you were like, as you were talking to me about it, you were like, I want to do that, something like that. And then you were like, and this is what it's been like the whole way. Like, I would say something, and I'm an ideas guy. I'm totally like, take it or leave it. And you're like, okay, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. And so you just like get it going.
Yeah, I was like,
and
that's not typically me. Like, I'm not typically the like, let's go and do it. But it was like, I think it helps if it's like somebody else. It's like, okay, like you want, like, let's do it. I think starting my own business, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, like all you can do is just do it. Nike.
Yes, that's right. Just around the corner from us.
Right.
But no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We just need to take a step. And I think, honestly, like one of the ride questions, going back to that, is it's just been like, it's been insecure. It's been scary.
Yeah.
Like just doing anything new, you know, it's like, and I don't know why. It's like, no, the consequences aren't that big. Like we lose a bit of time, we lose a bit of money.
Yeah.
You know, that's all right. But it just feels like so like, don't mess it up.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's an important space. Maybe that's why I like the stuff we're talking about. Yeah.
And people
Don't
are
mess
saying
that
like,
up.
oh, you know, this is good. Oh, there's nothing like this. Like, you know, this. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like don't say anything
I
stupid.
know, just right.
Don't lead people away from God, please.
Right,
you
right.
know, like, and actually, that's been like probably that's actually not bad to be reminded of because we don't want science and psychology to be above scripture, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I always forget what the Latin is for that. Sola Scriptura. Yeah,
Yes,
come on. I didn't go to
yes.
Biola, but
There
we
go.
actually high-fived. We reached each other. Next time we need to be a little bit closer.
Yes, it,
About, like,
yes. Are we
smashing
at
them up.
high five range? Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's good.
Yeah, so yeah, it was fun. And then
Yeah.
we just kept going, and we kept checking in, and even when things were hard, it's like, yeah, but we would both say, but I still want to do this. I still want to do this. And it was like, good. And I'm still excited. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like God's in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah, it does. We pray for that.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, we'll expand. Like we both have talked about, like we just want to, like we've got our director of operations who helps us with all of that. And we've got lots of voices that are contributing, but eventually like to grow into, you know, a sense of more of a team and include people and, you know, someone that I've been thinking about that I'm like, I really like that guy. I really want that guy. And you're like, we can do it because he's moving to Oregon. So we'll see.
Yes. You know who you are.
You know who you are. We won't say his name because he hasn't even been talked to about this yet. We can.
You don't know what we're talking about, but you know who you are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I mean, just people like that anyway, like an amazing thinker, theologian, you know, heart for God. And not just, and I mean, critical thinkers are really good to have in this space. So also that in case we get, you know, off track somewhere, like someone like that. Just to be
reel
like,
us in.
Yeah,
yes.
totally.
Yeah, we need that. We need that. Yeah.
All right. Is it my turn now?
It's your turn.
All right. Oh,
Even though you made that last question, you're like, let's just both riff. No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
Oh, okay. So now this is probably, just a bit about what is rise and what is form, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't prep this at all. I know we did our other stuff, so we can just, okay.
No.
We'll do more in-depth stuff later.
But maybe, so if we start with what is rise, and I think you talked about, you know, the original, where that dropped for you, and I'll talk about form.
Okay.
And then we can both jump in.
Back. Okay.
All of this stuff I have here is about rise. Yeah.
Well, I'll just say, like, because we were trying to decide the name, and I think you had brought form, I had brought rise, and I was saying, like, what we're trying to do is we're trying to talk about how to move towards Christ after the fall. So, like, with the fall, you rise out of a fall. So it's like, you know, with sin coming into the world, that was the fall. That's when the design of the world and of humanity was distorted.
Yeah.
And God has always had this plan of moving back towards, like, what he designed it to be, and it's going to happen, and so how can we be a part of that? So rising up from that fall. So that's where the word came from.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of stuff focused in Genesis in particular, in like season 1, because we wanted to start with like what was the original design, like what are we actually moving towards in all of this. So
yeah, and like I'm picturing people getting baptized on Sunday. Like it's always about rising up, right? Out of the water. Jesus rose again.
Yes.
From that place of being fallen, we leave the past behind and we rise up again. And so much of like the question people have is like, it's a really powerful thing, that moment of rising, that moment of making that decision to rise again from whatever you've been in,
yes,
or from your past, or even just like on a Monday, just like I need to rise up,
and wake up,
do my work and whatever it is, love my family, or just those sorts of things. And I think we want to help provide some answers and some help, or like, how do you do that though? Like, so I just got baptized, or like I just did that rising thing. But like how do I sustain that, and how do I even get to that place of like making that decision to step out or step up again? What's the psychology behind that?
What are the tools that God has given us just in the natural, like, that we can use? One thing I want to throw out there too with the rise in metaphor, because I like that. I like these different metaphors. And this one came from J.D. Peabody. I don't know if you picked up on this, but he had talked about, he's doing season 2, so whenever that comes out. But he said something about like a bird like rising up or something with the wind or something like that. And I was like, even that, like, that image of like a bird rising up to take flight, the image of wind. And I don't know if he meant this, but like, typically in the Bible it talks about like wind being the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is the one that helps us to rise, bottom line. So that was like, all these things just felt like it was pointing to like, okay, this movement up.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good. It's just like the reminder of the Holy Spirit being that. And I think that's why like even now I forget that, and I go back into like, how do we do that? And then what he was talking about, and Matthew Hodges in season 1 was talking about, which is just it's about being around who rises up, just get close to him.
Yep.
And again, we need to know what that looks like, and help with that. And that's where we can help, and where pastors can help, and that sort of thing. But how do you not rise when you're hanging out with the MVP, right? Like with the best of the best player or something. Like it brings it out of you, brings your best self forward.
Yeah.
So get around like that with God, but also around people that rise. And
it's important.
Yeah. And one last point about that was which we can unpack this later, but was how so much of us are in survival mode, and we're just trying to get through life, pay the bills, whatever it is. And it's a hard time right now, like economically, and people have gone through trauma and struggles and stay in a sense of just survival mode and don't even know it. And to say like, what are your goals or something like that is like, it almost feels jarring, to think about what would my life be like if I was thriving. And how do I thrive given my circumstances, and some of that, not to invalidate, like circumstances are real, and some of that is about mindset, about seeing things differently. And like I always give the COVID analogy, which is like, for some people, they were stuck at home, and that was their perspective of, COVID, and some people were safe at home, which gave them a different idea about, okay, this is nice, like we can play games and we can connect and we can FaceTime people, and it gave them more opportunity to kind of thrive. So I think some of our work here, biblically and psychologically, will be about helping people find that mindset to help them see things differently.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be key.
Yeah.
It's like that's going to guide things, because it is about how you see things to some extent,
Yeah. And I mean, sorry. Yeah. And just like biblically, like that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
It's like seeing that you're loved, and seeing that God does have a plan for you, and hasn't ignored you, and hasn't forgotten you. And all those things can help you get through anything.
Right. These truths, being led by these truths, that can help ground you when everything else is being tossed all around. Because all this is everything is going to get tossed around and chaotic and change and all that. So it's like, what's your grounding truth that you come back to help you through that, you know, and that is the mindset or the value or the, you know, that perspective.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else on that, or should we go to form?
Let's go to
All right.
I'm ready to form.
Yeah. What is form? I was almost like, should I just drop it in there?
Yeah. What? Oh,
yeah.
Like say it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say that, the 1 Peter 4, verse 1-4 talks about arming yourself with the same attitude.
Yes. Yeah.
And arming yourself with the Christ-like attitude, with Jesus' attitude, and committing yourself to that.
Yep.
That it is like arming yourself ready for anything.
Yeah.
And if we can have that attitude, what is an attitude? It's a mindset, or it's a disposition that we can have.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out what that attitude is, and then just like keep arming ourselves with it.
Yeah.
And then we can get through.
Yeah.
We might even have a joyful day. You know?
Maybe we'll even get to joy.
Yes.
I mean, even the Romans 12 verse 2 you know, of be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Like this renewing, and it's not all cognitive, because I mean, like that's not all what's being talked about in the cognitive. It's your mind, it's your heart, but it's like that renewing is the thing that starts to get you to rise up and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of takes us to form.
Yeah.
So let's go to what is form.
Yeah.
Because it's not all about mind. It's not all cognitive.
Yeah.
So much of it is we got this powerful brain, but forming is about like something else, right? Whole self, developing something that becomes habitually us.
Yeah.
And I always think about forming a muscle. You have to do something repetitively to make it stronger. We rehearse things to know them, to become them. And so formation is a lot about repetition, and doing things habitually. And that sounds really boring and hard, but there's so much merit in that.
Yeah.
If you care enough, and this is why Rise is first, because if you care enough about something and have that mindset of like, this is the prize, this is the thing I want, it doesn't feel boring. It feels so good.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm thinking about that verse too, in Ephesians 4, 22-24, where it talks about put off the old man, you know, and put on the new man. And then it talks about like through the renewing of your mind, or I don't know how the
I should
exact,
pull it up.
but just the idea of like putting on, that there's some kind of action that has to come with it, and that is, I think, something that God and the Holy Spirit uses, of like these actions that we have to do in order to form, and these things that God, you know, the Holy Spirit does through us and in us to like form these situations that pop up. And how are you going to deal with this differently with that mindset, you know? So yeah,
that's right. Putting on the new self, like almost like putting on a jacket or something, putting something on every day and practicing living into that.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you know, we are in so many ways what we do. I love to think that my intentions are who I am.
Yeah.
But ask anyone, you're not that, bro.
Yep.
Like, sorry, man.
Yeah, not at all. Intentions, you can't see that, but you can see the fruit. And the fruit is in the doing. You know, like the tree will be known by its fruit.
Yeah.
So what you do, what you're guided by, what you're leaning towards, that's showing what's inside your heart. And that's what God sees. And that's what God's trying to form, is our hearts.
Yeah.
You know, because our hearts are misguided, and so it's like, how do we have those hearts? And intentions, because we can be behavioral, we can be intentional, you know, we can have intent rather, but that's not going to change, because people can fake it. You can fake the funk, but we're not talking about faking it. We're not talking about like, oh, let me do the right thing, like, and even as I'm hearing us talk, I'm like, I want to make that clear, because it's not like, oh, just do the right behavior, and it's like, no. This is about having the mindset that motivates you to do that even when it's hard. Yeah, it's good. You know, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that. Search me and know my heart. See if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way of everlasting, right?
True, yeah.
Yeah, there you
Pastor.
go. I know. I mean, we should know our word a lot more. but that's it, right? Know my heart, and because God, my heart.
Yeah.
You know that I'm doing this. And I think this is most people, right? Oh, I got up and I read my word today because what am I really trying to do? Like, I'm really
Yeah.
trying to get close to you, God. I really want to know your word. I really want to connect with you. I really want to live out what the word says.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can get, and again, this reminds me a little bit of some of the people we've talked to, Nate Brooks, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We can get like just, sort of like so hung up in the habit of that we're not even connecting anymore
Yes.
with why we're doing that. And that's all humans, that's all of us. We can do those things like just on autopilot.
Yeah.
So some of this is just reminding us of like, let's get back to what we're forming here. What are we really forming?
Yeah.
Like, and it's our character.
Yeah.
So that not so I'm become this great guy, right?
Yeah.
And you become this like amazing woman, and we're just like so patient and so kind or something like that, because that's self-worship.
Yeah.
But it's so that he is exalted in our lives, so that he's
Yes.
glorified, so that everyone around us benefits from that.
Yeah.
And we have a legacy that's beautiful because of that. That's the goal.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you preaching. Hey,
Come on.
Yes.
All right, let's get the keyboard player out. Well, Gary, where's
Wasn't
Gary?
it? Oh, no, this is good. I'm excited. This is going to be fun. And, you know, just, hey, if people want to join, great.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and hopefully they're excited about it too.
And we always forget to say, like, follow us and share this with your friends and whatever. We're going to start doing our articles soon on the website too, so you can subscribe there. And,
have resources and all that. We want to make it practical. We want to make it attainable. So, find us.
That's it. I think we should wrap it up there. Yeah. Feel good.
That feels good.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Now you know who we are. All of us.